Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Spiritual Baddie podcast. I'm your host, Sanella Estrella, and today we are comfy, cozy vibes. The candles are lit, the pajamas are on, the puppy is in the bed, and I think it's all very fitting for what we're going to be talking about today, which is living a soft life, femininity, how to embody your divine feminine, and why everyone is talking about it. Teddy is joining us on the podcast today. He really wanted to be in this episode for obvious reasons. He has a lot to say, clearly. Picture this. You wake up in the morning without an alarm to the sun rising. The sky is pink and orange. You hear the birds chirping outside your window. Your curtains are blowing in the breeze. You wake up feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. You let out a big stretch and yawn, and you just feel grateful to be alive. You make your way to the kitchen. You start your day off with a nice cup of coffee, tea, matcha. You take a sip and you savor every sip like you've never had a drink in your life before this. And then you put on a cute workout outfit. You head over to your Pilates or your yoga class. You have an amazing workout. You come back home. You do an hour-long self-care routine. You do an everything shower. You come out, you do your skincare, you steam your face, you do a face mask, you do a hydrogel under your eyes, everything. The whole 9 yards. Then you do your hair and makeup, you put on another cute outfit for the day, and then you spend the rest of the day doing whatever the fuck you want. Maybe you'll read a book. Maybe you'll learn how to make a loaf of bread. Maybe you'll put on your favorite playlist and dance in the mirror, or tend to your garden, learn how to garden, learn how to paint, whatever the case may be, however you choose to spend your day doing hobbies that you actually enjoy. This is one example of what it means to live a soft life. Some of you are probably thinking, who the hell has time for all of that? People that don't have to work a 9 to 5. People that don't have to slave away or hustle just in order to survive. Remember how we all got hobbies during COVID? Remember how we all learned something new and then we all realized that, hey, maybe working 40 hours a week isn't that cool after all? Like, this shit is actually so bogus. Nothing has been the same since then. But wouldn't that be a dream to be able to do that every day? And the reason that you hear so many women talking about living this soft life while mentioning also getting princess treatment and talking about being with a man is for obvious reasons. Men are naturally the hunters, the providers. Not all men are like this. I feel like there's the majority of men, real masculine men that are connected to their divine masculine. They all have this instinctual provider mentality. This has nothing to do with how much a man makes. This is literally a mentality. He either has it or he doesn't. You could be with the wealthiest man ever. If he is not a generous man, he is not going to provide for you. If he is a wealthy man without a provider mindset and he's very selfish, you are not going to gain anything from that. You are not going to be able to live a soft life if he's still making you split all of the bills and go to work every day. For what? What would be the point of a relationship with a woman, for the woman, if that were the case? Like, what are you gaining? Now you're taking care of somebody while you're also working and taking care of yourself. Like, isn't your life easier if you were just alone? Anyways, that's another episode. We're going to get into more about relationships in another episode.
This week's episode is sponsored by Keen. Keen is a platform that connects you to psychics, tarot readers, astrologers, online 24/7 whenever you may need a reading, by chat or phone call. It's really easy to get a reading on Keen. All you have to do is create an account and you are able to choose from hundreds of psychics, tarot readers, and astrologers who are online right now. You can look at reviews and figure out who is best for you, because each reader will have their own unique advice and skills to give to you. They can give you advice from anything from your astrology and your astrocartography if you're trying to figure out where you and your partner would best do in the world. If you have a burning question at 3 a.m., if you want to know if he or she is right for you, or if you're getting played, how to attract your soulmate or your twin flame, you can use an astrologer to see when you might get married or when is the best time to make important career decisions. You can talk to pet mediums, connect to your deceased family and friends, talk to your spirit guides, and so much more. You can choose a reader that is best suited for you and your goals, what you're trying to accomplish from the reading, and you'll be able to connect with them via phone call or text right on the spot. If you have never tried Keen Keen before, you can have your first 5 minutes on Keen for only $1. You can go to trykeen.com/Sanella or go to the link in the description of this video to get your first 5 minutes for $1 with an advisor now. Thank you, Keen, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into the episode.
So I've always been kind of hustle. Hustle culture is still very big right now, but I feel like everything is really slowed down. And that's really what living a soft life is about, is just slowing down in everything and doing things that you actually enjoy, being intentional with your time. And I hope that every single one of you who are watching this ends up with a provider, and that you never have to work a day in your life and your man is happy to provide that life for you. However, you don't need a man to start living a softer life than the one that you're living now. And if there are any guys watching this that are being triggered by this video is not for you. You are not the type of guy that we're talking about. There is plenty of them out there that genuinely enjoy being a provider for a woman, spoiling their woman. Like, it makes them feel good. It's not even about what the woman is gaining. They're doing it also for themselves. And I see this a lot. I've dated both provider and non-provider men. My dad is very much a provider, and like his mentality's always been like, if my wife has to work, I've failed as a husband and a father. So he's had a stay-at-home wife for the last 30 years, and he literally built everything that he has from absolutely nothing. We came to America when I was 2 years old. My parents had 2 kids, so there was 4 of us. He had only $500 to his name, and he has 2 very successful businesses now. And as soon as he was making a little bit of money, he told my mom, you only have to work if you want to. You do not have to. Like, if you're tired, like, and you don't want to, and you want to just relax all day, like, do it. Take care of the house. Like, that's a lot of work too. So during COVID, the first couple of weeks were really, really hard for me because I was so used to staying so busy that I would never have time to actually like sit down and process what I was feeling, which was a lot. I definitely got a lot deeper into my spiritual journey too. And once the pandemic was not ending, I realized, I was like, all right, I need to get out of bed. I need to stop drinking a bottle of wine every day. Like, the only time I was leaving my house was to go to Target to get 9 more bottles of wine. Yeah, anyways, so after a couple weeks, I started painting again. I started going for bike rides just to get some sunlight and fresh air. And my God, did I start to feel better. Then a couple months in, I went to my ayahuasca retreat. And after that, everything shifted. I got so much deeper into my spiritual journey. I ended up starting my TikTok. My job was closed for 11 months. We had really strict lockdowns in Chicago, so that was crazy. I didn't know what to do with myself, honestly. The first couple of weeks of lockdown being like probably what seemed like the worst that I've ever felt in my life. I was crying every day. Like, I was just really, really, really uncomfortable having to sit still for the first time in my entire life and like really sit with my emotions. I missed my friends, I missed going out, and I realized that I was distracting myself so much to the point that I didn't have to feel anything. I'm an Aquarius. I know that people say we don't feel things, but I'm also a Cancer rising. I'm also a Pisces Venus. I didn't know that I had such a soft emotional side until I had to go through all of that. And it wasn't until July when I went to my ayahuasca retreat that it all came pouring out, all of that suppressed emotion that I did not allow myself to feel for 24 years. And after that, everything changed. Like, my life did a 180. My spiritual growth just skyrocketed after that. And I was very spiritual before. I was on my spiritual journey for probably like 4 or 5 years at the time that I did my 5 years at the time that I did my ceremony. I thought I knew so much. I was like, I'm so woke, like, I'm good. I've done so much work on myself. Embarrassing. Ayahuasca was like, bitch, you don't know shit. Even though that first day was so hard, it was so freaking, like, I needed it. Like, especially as a woman, if you want to connect to your divine femininity, you have to allow yourself to feel things. You have to allow yourself to feel everything so deeply. And I know that that might be hard for a lot of women. It was so fucking hard for me. Like, it just felt so impossible. It was so uncomfortable to sit in those feelings, especially in that first ceremony where I cried for 5 hours straight. That's not even an exaggeration. Like, it was fucked up. But at the same time, like, on the outside, it looked like I was like crying, like having a horrible time, like probably having a bad trip. But on the inside, the harder I cried, the more beautiful like visuals she would show me. And when I stopped crying, it would all go away. And like, I could hear her voice telling me, yes, my child, keep going. You're doing great. Like, she just knew that I needed to get all that shit out. And like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I literally felt like I lost 100 pounds. So if that sounds like you, somebody that like suppresses everything, you're just like hard as a rock, you've had your heart broken, you've been hurt so many times by life, where you are just like solid, like a rock, like a shell, baby, you need to let go of all of that. It is going to be so fucking painful for maybe a few hours, a few days, a few months, but that's all such a short span of time in the grand scheme of things. If you have to go through the rest of your life carrying all that dead weight that is no longer serving you, babe, that sounds horrible to be carrying all of that with you for the rest of your life. Like, if you want to connect to your femininity, you are going to have to release that baggage, especially with women too. Our maternal lineage. So when you are born with all of the eggs that you will have for your entire life. They say it's like generational trauma because like you were an egg in your mom's entire life. So whatever trauma she experienced, like you were already there. And then her mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother, your entire lineage of maternal ancestors, like, we're carrying a lot as it is already. You need to let it go. And for the future of your own children too, if you ever plan on having your own kids. I think we all really started to live a soft life during COVID. At first, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst time of my life. And then by the end of it, I was like, this was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. If the world didn't shut down for a literal whole year, like, I don't think that we would have had this like mass awakening that we're having now. I don't think that people would realize like, this system that's been in place for so long does not work. It is not right. It is so unnatural. There's a reason that everybody is like so fucking anxious and depressed. There's a reason that mental health is at the state that it's in the world right now. Humans are not meant to not see the sun for 8 hours a day, do the same thing every single day, sit in a cubicle, staring at a computer, not fucking talking to a single person the entire day, and then coming home when it's already dark outside, eating a meal and going to sleep. Like, what kind of life is that? That is so sad. If there's anybody that's happy doing that, that's so great. If you can find a job that you genuinely love doing, like, your life is already softer. Like, if you are not like killing yourself and absolutely dreading waking up every day, you are not excited to wake up in the morning and go to work, fuck that. And you might be saying, okay, well, I have to. All right. If you have to, you have to. So I've said it once and I'll say it again. If you wanted to, you would. If you were that unhappy and you hated it that badly, you would leave. You would figure it out. You would do everything in your power to figure it the fuck out. You would move mountains if you wanted something that bad. So if you don't want to do it, at the end of the day, you just don't want it that bad. I'm sorry. I know that sounds harsh, but people do impossible things. People do seemingly impossible things when they want it that bad because they're just so tired of suffering. Like, suffering is just not an option anymore. Okay, so you don't want to quit your job. You don't want to find another job. How can you start living a soft life without quitting your job? How can you do all of these things? Maybe you can't do all of them, but you can definitely incorporate ways to be living a softer life. Maybe you set boundaries at work. No, sorry, I'm not staying overtime. No, I can't stay late. No, I can't pick up an extra project because I have shit to do at home. And that shit that you have to do at home is your hobbies, resting, things that you love, an extra 30 minutes in your self-care routine. You want to watch a makeup tutorial and follow it, like whatever the fuck it may be. Like, it's literally just about slowing down, getting into flow. And like, soft life is the most feminine way that you can be living, because the divine femininity, it flows, it's slow, it's more sensual, not in a sexual way, but it's just, everything is just a little bit more relaxed. And when you can relax into yourself and into your femininity, that is when you attract the most masculine men, is when you feel like you can rest. Do something that you love. Stop fucking doom scrolling on your phone when you get home. I know that your brain has been deprived of dopamine all day, but I promise there's other ways to get it. I'm sorry to say, the rumors are true. Sunlight, eating well, not staring at a phone screen all day, and moving your body will cure your anxiety and depression. I'm sorry, the rumors are true. And obviously you don't have to do all of these things at once, but if there's one thing every day that you can be intentional with your time, delete your social media apps when you get home from work, read a book, learn how to bake cookies or sourdough, start painting, start rollerblading. I have so many hobbies, and I genuinely think that that's why I'm so happy, and I'm so happy alone too. I'm never bored because I've taken so much time to figure out, how do I genuinely enjoy spending my time? That's one thing about me, is that if I don't want to do something, there's nothing in this green earth that will make me do something that I do not want to do. I was not ready to give up that soft life, like, once COVID ended. I graduated college in 2020. I wasn't really doing much for that first semester because I was just like in an independent study class. So like, I got to continue living my soft life. Like, everything was online for my last semester, and I had only one class, which was like, I had to get an internship. So it wasn't really even a class. I got really lucky because my boyfriend's mom worked in the same field as me, exact same. Their graphic designer was on maternity leave and they needed somebody to fill the position. So I got to have my own office. I got to work with my boyfriend's ex-boyfriend's mom, who I love. Like, that was literally like my second mother. I was getting put on like really big, important projects that they would never, ever, ever give to an intern or somebody even in an entry-level position. So I was really, really grateful for this job. It was everything that I wanted it to be. It was close to my house, too. It couldn't have been a more ideal situation for me. I went to school for 6 years. I started working in an office. I came in from 9 to 4. 9 to 4. It wasn't even a 9 to 5 every day. And at first I was like, I love this so much. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. After like 2 months, I literally sat down at my desk every day. Like, I literally just felt the life leaving my body. And I just kept thinking to myself, every time I sat down in that chair and turned on the computer for the day, I was like, this cannot be the next 40 years of my life. Like, I was genuinely so fucking distraught. There's no way. Like, this is what people do for their entire fucking lives. And then maybe when they're old and they can't really move their bodies in the same way that they used to, or so much has happened over the course of their lives that they didn't get to experience. I did not want to be 65 years old and then I got to start living my life. Your life is 65% over when you're 65. If anything, I want to be living my life now, in my 20s and my 30s. Why would I waste my entire life and wait until I'm 65? Some people don't make it that long. You never know, you know? So long story short, I wanted to go back to my soft life that I was having. I was like, what can I do? Like, genuinely, I don't know. And at that time, I think I had like just hit 500K on TikTok, but I had no idea how to monetize my content. Like, I was really not making anything. It was like an extra like $500 a month at that time. Like I wasn't doing any brand deals. Like I was just in the creator program. Like I would get sent free stuff, but I didn't know anything about like content creation or like turning it into a job. And I was thinking always like, oh, maybe I'm on the wrong platform, but I didn't know what to do. I sat for a minute and then I got an intuitive message. So I'm like sitting, this story is so crazy too. So I'm sitting at my work computer, which is like a big desktop. And then I have like my laptop over to the side right here. The desk was shaped like an L. I had not opened the email that I had associated with my TikTok account. I don't think like ever, honestly. So when I turned to this computer, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, how can I not live this life? How can I go back to living my soft life? I opened my TikTok email by chance. I would have literally never looked at this. I had offers from brand deals, companies that I actually wanted to work with. I had no idea I could do this. I was so excited to just get some free products. I had no idea that they were offering to pay me. It's just so crazy how the universe just like drops in little things. Like when you really, really are like just at your rope's end. We are continuing another day. My camera overheated. Let's continue. You do not need a man to give yourself parts of a soft life. If you are able to make money doing less or doing something that you actually love and enjoy, you are already giving yourself a softer life. I was not ready to give up my soft life when the pandemic ended and we all had to go back to work. And I figured out a way to monetize my content. And I decided to go to life coaching school, and it was just so crazy to me, the weight that had physically felt like it had lifted off of my shoulders once I made that decision. And I set that intention to the universe, like, I surrender, I trust you, but I would rather be broke than depressed. And the universe delivered. The universe is always listening. It never fails to amaze me how the universe will just drop something in your lap once you surrender and you stop trying to control every aspect of your life or how it's going to happen, how it's going to come to you. That surrender, that flow, that release of control, that is so divinely feminine in and of itself. A man can give you a soft life if you choose the right man. Men that have that provider mentality, they take pride in taking care of a woman. And honestly, at this point where I am in my life, I've realized that if a man is not helping you out by making your life easier, taking on some of the bills or taking you out on dates or just making your life easier in any way, that's your friend. That is your friend. Like, I've realized that a lot of my relationships were friendships. If all your man is offering you is love and support, babe, that is your friend. You do not need a cheerleader, and I'm sure you don't need any more friends. You've already got your girlfriends. Love, support, and being your cheerleader, telling you you can do it, cheering you on. Of course we want that out of a partner, but that comes from the friendship aspect of the partner. That's all I'm going to say. So I want to talk about more on how to embody your femininity, how to get into your femininity. I feel like I was operating out of my masculine, out of sheer survival for most of my life, really up until my ayahuasca ceremony, where I got to release all of that repressed emotion. And if that sounds like you, the first thing that you need to do to connect to your feminine energy is to connect to your emotions and release what you've been storing. Like, journal on this, do your shadow work. I cannot express how much shadow work has helped me get through those blockages and that repressed emotion that I didn't even realize in my conscious mind that were there until I really dove deep into meditation, into journaling, into guided hypnosis, and what kind of stored trauma was in there, because I was always somebody that like never let anybody see me cry. Despite being a Cancer rising, I am an Aquarius sun, Mars, Gemini moon, and I have a Capricorn stellium. Like, I thought in my astrology, like, everything was just making me stone cold. But at the bottom of it, that was really not true. There is a soft side to me. I have my Cancer rising. I have my Pisces Venus. There was a part of me that I was denying myself because I viewed emotions as weak. But really facing your emotions and that all that shit that you've gone through, like, that takes courage and strength. Like, it is not weak. It is actually quite the opposite. Like, you tell the toughest guy that you know to go and sit with his darkest demons and see if he can come out of it without crying. Like, that shit is intense. So being able to release like some of that stored trauma and emotion, like that in and of itself will make you just feel so much lighter and be able to flow. And that's what the feminine energy is really about. It's flow, surrender, receiving, slowing down. All of these things we can embody in our day-to-day life, in the way that we speak, in the way that we move, just in the way that we are living, slowing down, feeling everything. And I mean that in every single way. Like when you eat your food, really taste your food, savor it, be present in every moment. And that is really connecting to your divine feminine energy on the most base level that you can, so that you can always be in that energy. And we have masculine and feminine energy. Everybody has it, men and women, but some people have more of one side. Some people have it more balanced. You know, some people are more masculine, some people are more feminine. Whatever works for you is great, but being able to connect to that energy and have that balance of when you need it is really, really important. So a lot of the things that I was talking about earlier are things that you can do to help you get into your feminine energy, you know, like having a hobby, something that will make you be present and slow down. Any of those hobbies, anything that you might enjoy. I think everybody really needs to have at least one hobby. What is that saying? They say that you need 3 hobbies, 1 to sharpen your brain, 1 to move your body, and 1 to make you money. Like, I could not agree with that more. And especially if you have a hobby that makes you money, you're already on your way to a softer life. If you are enjoying what you're doing and you're making money from it, fantastic. That's great. Obviously, I dress very feminine. I love to do my makeup. I'm very into self-care. I love fashion, wearing pink and expressing myself through that way. But if that is not your style, one of my favorite ways to connect to my feminine energy is movement. Believe it or not, twerking and belly dancing are very, very spiritual. We store a lot of trauma in our hips and that sacral and solar plexus area of our bodies, and just moving that area really releases some of that stored energy. You can also do yoga. I've seen people put like a tennis ball under their hips and then roll it out. That can also help to release some of that energy that we store in there as women. And you don't have to do it in public either. Like, I literally every single day I'm dancing in front of my mirror. Like, it is one of my favorite things to do and how to spend my time. If I'm not doing that, something is very wrong with me. Like, I must be depressed. But it just makes you feel very sexy and in tune with yourself. And you actually bring up your cerebral spinal fluid, your kundalini energy from twerking. And there's one where you squat down all the way to the ground and then you shoot your butt up into the air very quickly, and doing that over and over again. It kind of looks like twerking, but that is bringing the kundalini energy, the cerebral spinal fluid. There is an actual scientific term for this. You are bringing it up to your brain. So that is one of my favorite ways. And if you don't know how to dance, like, that's a great opportunity to start. So focus on moving your hips and moving your body and just like flowing in a way that feels really good to you. That really helps you get into your feminine energy. Also, like, honoring your moon cycle, your period. I'm actually on mine right now, and like seeing it as more of a blessing rather than a curse. I actually have a video on this as well. If you want to check that out, I'll leave it in the show notes. But this is such a sacred part about being a woman. It is the beginning of life. It is the sacrament. Like, life cannot exist without the feminine cycle. So just alone honoring that, as shitty as it might feel, I know I've had my share of hormonal problems my entire life since I started my period very, very early. But it is a part of being a woman, and it's beautiful, and honoring that can help you connect to your femininity. The feminine is in receiving mode. The masculine is the giver. It's actually represented by the right side of our body, and femininity is on the left. So your left hand is your receiving and your right hand is your giving. So you see a lot of this in witchcraft. You have to be really intentional if you're using your hands, which side of your body you're using it on, whether it's like manifestation or writing a sigil on your body. And I incorporate this in every single part of my life. I sleep on the left side of my bed. I always put my left shoe on first. I wear my rings on my left hand. All of these things compound and they make a big difference. I know that they're all very small, but when you compound them, they all really help. And just like intentionally doing those things, it helps you as well. Feminine is receiving. You have to learn, and I'm still learning this, but you have to learn how to be in your receiving energy. A lot of women struggle with receiving and accepting because we're always like, no, no, no. Women have learned to be in that nurturing but very giving. But what happens when you give everything away? You have to receive more or you have nothing to give away. So there has to be that balance. If you want to be the nurturer and you want to be in that feminine nurturing energy, you have to be also in your receiving energy on the other end. Otherwise, you're going to give all of yourself away. What are you going to be left with? Depression. If somebody gets you a gift or wants to take you out on a date, wants to do some acts of service for you, accept them, be grateful for them. Thank you. I really, really appreciate this. Showing appreciation also helps connecting to your feminine energy. There's just so many little micro habits that you can start doing to help you connect to this energy. And learning how to be comfortable receiving. Like, you can receive all you want, but you have to be comfortable receiving. And it might be very uncomfortable at first, but just as all things that are uncomfortable because they're new, once you get used to them, you won't be so uncomfortable later down the line. So just practicing this, allowing yourself to receive, will really help you shift into that feminine energy. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching and or listening. If you are not already, please make sure that you subscribe and follow the show if you are listening on Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave this video a like and let me know what you thought of this episode. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!